This is Patrick McCarthy reporting with Tri-Cities Community Television. We're back at our mobile studios here in Lee Square in Port Coquitlam. We just finished that municipal election for 2018, and today we have Christina Gower in our studios, who is part of that wave of folks who are either supporting elections more than before, or in this case, we're kind of providing some kind of social engagement. So, Christina, thank you very much for coming to the studios. Good to see you. So you were sort of launched this Municipal Elections 2018 Facebook site, and it sort of took off. Can you tell us why you did that and how well it went?
Sure. The group is called Municipal Elections October 2018.
Oh, October.
Yes. So I've done some activism in a number of areas in our communities, one being for mental health and another for affordable housing, and of course watching a lot of other topics like the environment, that kind of thing, sustainability, and wanted to do something for the municipal elections. I've gotten to know a lot of the local politicians and have my own opinions. And so we put together this page to promote positive ideology, I guess, that we'd like to see included and make sure that our politicians are going to address them.
Yeah, and I think you'll find that, right, with the new changes on financial rules around elections, getting that, connecting with folks who can help you, or in your case, sort of support a message is important. Is that kind of how you saw that change in this election?
Sure. The money factor was definitely something remarkable behind the scenes that I saw. New candidates that were out there trying to beat incumbents, they were struggling. Because the incumbents are already well known and they raised a lot of money before the deadline, which I think was September or something last year, before they got cut off. So they knew it was coming and they padded it quite a bit, and then our newcomers were not able to. So it was an interesting factor to see, but also the engagement at the community level, I think, is such a bonus factor in that. Really, they are needed. They're an essential part of this process now, which is what it should be all about, and always should have been about. So.
Yeah, I think I've followed your site. I mean, I know it's challenging where you personally have a political opinion or position, and you're trying to open it up to a kind of all position debate. And it seemed like how did you manage that so it didn't get into a brawl or a lot of negative comments back and forth?
Well, it wasn't perfect, and it wasn't necessarily easy, but we did have a couple rules, guidelines, where you're not allowed to just demean a politician or put a meme up or what have you. If you have something to say, it has to be backed up with a story, some statistics, that kind of thing, some actual evidence to base your claim on. I think that really limited and cut through a lot of potential harmful stuff. And of course, we have a guideline where it's to be polite and respect one another's opinion, even if they're different. I had people definitely argue with me on there about my opinions, and I surprised a lot of people, even with some of them too, because I did back up some people politically that weren't strictly one way, and that's because I think they represent people. We have to have a good sampling in our politicians that does represent the population.
And you do have another partner, who works with you behind the scenes, who's kind of incognito, I guess. Fully a tagline without a face, as I say. But I guess I can understand that you're just trying to be neutral as possible. But so I know you posted a bunch of topics. So what did you feel how you affected, not the election, but how did you affect the conversation in your mind, and what did you learn? That would be the second question.
Well, we really did guide it on a mandate for sustainable and renewable resources, affordability as in income associated, not just what we're calling affordable now in marketing, and social inclusion, making sure there's gender equities, there's mental health component to that as well. So, and I think the outcome was actually really quite positive. It actually connected a lot of people together through that group that didn't know each other before, and I've seen some friendships start from that and sort of strengthen, I think, the numbers that are out there actually fighting for people that need help and for our environment and all those things.
Yeah, even for us, I think I posted some questions, on myself that were not the original questions. So even there, I think I expanded and people were adding things. And I guess for me, what maybe you're surprised, like in municipal politics now, it does seem to be a little bit of a provincial, federal battlefield in the sense of, some of these key grassroots issues are at play. And did you find that in your process?
Incredibly. I knew through some of my previous activism that there is a connection amongst politicians at both provincial and local level, but it actually kind of blew my mind this time around to see how much influence there was coming from the province through the local candidates for the municipal election. It was, people are not running for parties necessarily, except in the designated places like the Charter of Vancouver, Richmond has parties, and I think White Rock. But definitely influenced by NDP, by Green, by Liberals, not as much Conservatives. I didn't really see any of that, but they're definitely put their people in there for sure.
So you are a nurse.
Yeah.
So this is like you do this like we do. You just do it because you love it.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
so I know good thing about nursing, you work different hours. So sometimes you get sort of text from you at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is your day shift or something.
Yeah.
But so congratulations on that. I know it's not easy actually.
Well, I just came off my 4th night, so.
Yeah. So and I know you guys shot a few videos as well. You kind of the now the mayor of Port Moody was as an running for that position. You were interviewing him, which is sort of like in the middle of this sort of here's a municipal sort of communication Facebook site. Also interviewing a possible candidate for mayor who also has a kind of something pop up, about some of his younger days. And of course, how did you find that sort of role?
Well, Rob Vagabond, who's now our mayor of Port Moody, I've known him through some advocacy. He's a member of the Tri-Cities Homelessness Task Force, I think it is, and a few other things. So he was somebody I kind of targeted that I wanted to talk to. I knew that if I sort of pressed him on a few things that I was thinking, I work in the ER department, I'm a psych nurse, that hopefully I could get some of my own agenda through to him a little bit for things that I have knowledge about. And we ended up talking, and he showed me that famous now video, and the whole video of him, shotgunning a beer. I think he combined 2 challenges together because it was a random act of kindness and all that. So we went through that, not expecting it to go national and viral, and it was kind of caught me by surprise. The very next day, he phoned me and said, are you okay? I'm like, okay, about what? And then I saw the news. I thought, oh, geez. But yeah, no, I think that Rob had already learned from that, like through our discussion that day. It was an hour and a half long, and he got a 13-minute blurb of it, but he knew the errors in his ways from that. But that is not what we expected to be focused on. It was really about homelessness that we were trying to talk about, and about the hidden homeless factor where, we have a lot of trails here in Port Coquitlam, and I ride my bike on them all the time. There's people sleeping everywhere. And that's the hidden homeless that are not counted so much in our census. So that was actually our topic, but I'm thinking got a little bit lost.
Yeah. So for me, what do you think you've learned by being involved in running this sort of discussion forum? Like what did you obviously you have your own opinions, but what did you learn that was sort of something unexpected?
You know what, I learned a lot of things. I've learned that engagement has definitely, I've seen how politicians will get engaged. There's kind of a danger zone though, and they just drop out. Like when it's really getting close to the election within about a couple of months, and they're very vocal and then they just disappear. So I think they're just being very cautious. And yet they're not really picking back up again either. And I assume that they're quite busy. But there's newcomers that are, making appointments with me to sit down and talk to me. So they're actually engaging. And these are not necessarily people from my political spectrum, but they want to hear from me. So that's really important. I think we've got some messages across and out there, and we've tried to be very reasonable and all-encompassing for the different points of view. And I think my learning is mostly around how I can't be rigidly in my own left of center mindset. Sometimes you have to really embrace everybody to see everybody's point of view.
Yeah, and I guess, even though all the great work you did and other people being done, we had a young person who came in here and talked about helping in an election. I mean, the turnout is still 26% of us vote. So what do you suggest to folks out there who you should, at least mark the ballot with something, even if it says I don't care. But why do you think people should get out, or in a sense, how easy it was for you to do that, and how much they can do it themselves?
Well, I mean, I was really shocked the turnout was so low. I thought with the advanced polls, they were almost double what they had been in the last municipal election. So to me, I thought, well, maybe that will indicate double that on general election day. It didn't at all. In fact, it was probably a bit lower. So I was quite taken aback. I think it's a really easy thing to get out there and vote. I think with a group like mine, and there was many others out there, certainly there to assist people through making their choices if there's questions. So I'm not sure how to get people engaged, except that what is going on right now is proportional representation. We have a ballot out there. I just put mine in today, and we have until the 30th of the month to do so. But I think hopefully that goes through. I think that once that does, I think people might have a way to engage better, or a way to feel like they're engaged because they're more represented. Right now, if you get 40% of the vote, you can have 100% of the power, right? Whereas if you do the proportional representation, then you might get, if you get 40% of the vote, you're going to have 40% of the power. And I think that represents the population more. If you live in a riding where it's always NDP, it's always Conservative, it's always Liberal, and you're not, why vote, right? So I think that it changes things, and I'm really hoping that will go through, and then maybe we'll get some engagement. Other than that, I'm really not sure, except to go around and just try and get people involved in the community, see the problems that we have, and engage them that way, which is how I got involved.
So that brings us to this site that sort of was born, the Municipal, October 2018. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you need to change the name, because I'm still seeing that come up. I still sort of feel like I should stay there.
Stick around.
Yeah, stick around. But so obviously, there's I guess the genesis of something is around, I guess, the political discourse at a community level. It's kind of really, I think that's what you were doing.
For sure.
So.
For sure, and our name change is going to happen. We haven't really decided. It's been a bit of a whirlwind, but we do have a federal election coming up, so we may just move it into a federal name for the next year and go with that. And never seem to be short on elections around here. So.
Or topics.
Or topics.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I know it's like I said, it's very. I thought this was the most engaged. Even though our turnout was low, I thought it was the most engaged people had been in the conversation around the topics. And it's not, I think the Tri-Cities is not a sleepy hollow anymore. We have some real big city problems. And I think the stuff you were putting together brought that up, as well as some other folks. So I want to thank you for supporting that process. And we look forward to following the next one as well.
So do I.
So there you go. Christina Gower is obviously a professional nurse, but at the same time is supporting the political process by getting out the message around what's important for her, but also to create discourse between other folks in the community. Check out their website on Facebook. It may change, but right now it's Municipal Elections, October 2018.
Yes.
I finally got it right. Thanks for watching, and we'll check you on the other side. Thank you.